Remember back when you were a kid and you'd spend whole summers just finding dead bodies in the woods? Well, it's time to get that feeling back.
One, a two.
Here I go, I'm about to freak the flow. About the Cartoon Network and things they show. We got the super adventures, tune heads, and late night. It's black and white, but everything's alright. But I'll break it down a little bit more. Tell you what they have in store, what his tunes you're looking for. We got Fred Flintstone and Barney Rubble, my man.
Flash games were a vibe, dude. Hours of fun to be had for basically free. They could be janky, they could be unfair, but man, just having the near infinite amount of games ready for you whenever you wanted made up for it. I used to love squeezing in a few rounds of Battle Blitz in between commercials.
You want to pass me, but you can't pass me. You can't pass. You pass me.
Provided I had waited about 10 hours for it to load. Dial-up internet is the one thing I have no nostalgia for. Some of you guys don't know the pain of waiting half a day just to watch the opening of Metabots on YouTube. Worth it though, that theme still slaps. But Flash games are something I hold near and dear to my heart. I would play them at school whenever there was an open computer in the library. Me and my friends would race each other or just try to get a higher score. And when I had no more characters to unlock in LEGO Star Wars, I'd go and see what Cartoon Network or Nick was cooking up. Disney if I was desperate. But as I grew older, my taste started to shift, and I wanted something with a more mature edge.
I have grown up. It is nature's way.
Something for the budding intellectual. And seeing how I was 13, that just meant I wanted some games to play where they cursed and maybe you could scope some side boob.
How about that side boob? That turn you on? Well, it shouldn't, 'cause that's my side boob.
Enter Adult Swim.
Sir, I thought we said no cannonballs. Sir?
Cartoon Network was always my favorite channel growing up, and I would just leave it on all day, so it makes sense that I got deep into Adult Swim, and by extension, Adult Swim Flash games. I'll always remember just how hard they went promoting these things too, making full-on commercials for most of their bigger games, and not just like little snippets of gameplay, but like actual productions.
They were just your typical citizens until someone stole their president and they were pushed too far.
And man did it work, because I played nearly every release. Sadly, with the death of Flash as we know it, most of these games became unplayable. But luckily, with the help of Flashpoint, a cool little preservation tool, I was still able to play a bunch of them. I know in October I usually talk about spooky stuff, but the world has been so crazy that I kinda just want everyone to chill. So for this month, I'm only covering stuff to vibe out with. I'm your host and professional 2000s kid, D'Angelo Edwards. And today, I'm taking my hat off to Adult Swim Flash games.
Burn.
This video will be the first of what I'm calling First, let's start off with a wholesome classic. 5 Minutes to Shrek Yourselves is a game about corporate life, helping customers, making a difference, and giving your all for the company. And about how all that just makes you want to jump off a building.
Someday, but not today.
If you've ever worked a job you hate, you will feel this one in your soul. Sure, it might seem a little drastic to set fire to your face just because you have a meeting, but if you've had the kind of bosses I've had, an open flame might not sound too bad. But what's the objective? Well, it's pretty self-explanatory. Take the ability to use most things as a weapon, a la Dead Rising, but instead of using them on zombies, you're using them on yourself. But you do have a time limit before that meeting starts, so you're gonna have to get creative. Simple things like ramming a stapler into your head or stabbing yourself with scissors won't cut it. You're gonna need to do stuff like putting a trophy into a microwave, breaking into the office fish tank, or take Casual Friday a bit too far. I used to love this game because there was so much to click on. I think that the main appeal, other than trying to go for a record, is that you just want to see what everything does, and finding out all the combos you can do can get addicting, like taking an umbrella to the mailroom, putting it in a tube, and letting it rip. There are a couple of obstacles in the way, like annoying co-workers who won't let you get a word in edgewise, slowing down your time, but by far the biggest hurdle I had to get over were the controls. You would think that such a simple game would be easy enough to control, but moving around in it feels so stiff. You're snapped to a grid, and using the arrow keys feels like they're inverted. Up will make you go left, down will make you go right. You get used to it after a while, but in a game where speed is the key, there were a lot of moments where I just kept getting stuck. But like I said, you get used to it, and it's still fun seeing all the different ways you can mess yourself up. And where else can you get pile drived by your coworker in bondage gear? This is one of the games Adult Swim made that spun off into a franchise. There was a direct sequel, Airport Edition, Wedding Day, and even an enhanced version that was available on the iPhone for a while. And yeah, it's cool that they made so many, but it is a little concerning that so many people played these considering the subject matter. Are we okay? I mean, I know we're not, but geez. Besides the first one, I also managed to check out Film Reunion, and it's pretty much a step up in every way. Movement is now handled by the mouse, which, while it can still be a little finicky, for the most part it makes everything easier to control. Also, there are way more areas to explore and combos to mess with. A big emphasis is put on collecting items in your fanny pack to use later, either combining them with other items or giving them to specific characters so they can bring the pain to you. Overall, between the slick infographic-based style, the huge and varied number of ways to dismember yourself, and the addictive thrill of getting a better score, these games were a great way to kill some time, among other things. Alright, this next one is really simple. Rock, paper, scissors, deathmatch. If you're like me and always thought a game of Rochambeau could use a bit more carnage, then this game is for you. This is a simple fighting game where you take the role of rock, scissors, or paper and fight to the death to prove which one reigns supreme. I was kind of obsessed with this game as a kid for some reason. It was something about the cool art style. It reminded me of the best doodles in a notebook for those rare days in schools when you had a red pen. I actually associate this game a lot with school. My computer at home would have trouble running this game, so I could only play it at school, where the internet was a little better. Also, the only reason I played it so much at school is because I had the best computer teacher. And by best, I mean terrible at her job. She would regularly leave the classroom, fall asleep. I remember one time she just straight up left the school, like we saw her drive off from the window. It was basically a kid paradise. Unrestricted internet access? No one knew how to block websites back then, like 4 out of 5 computers were playing 2 Girls 1 Cup. It was a war zone. But hey, at least I got to play my Flash games. But while I have good memories of playing this as a kid, revisiting it was kind of an eye-opener. This game is a mess. The controls are slippery, special moves are kind of a crapshoot in whether they work or not, and if I'm being honest, there's no challenge. At first I thought I was just really good at it because I'm me, but it's just super easy to stun lock everyone. Also, it gets really repetitive. Outside of unlocking new sub-weapons to use, after about 20 minutes I think you've pretty much experienced everything this game has to offer. Not the best game, but a fun little time waster for sure, and I'll never forget those days playing it instead of learning how to type. Next up, for all you Tamagotchi fans out there, and yes, I am one of you, we have
My Little Bastard!
My Little Bastard is a pet/child raising sim game, and if raising a real pet is anything like this game, then I do not envy pet owners. In this game, you raise your blue or pink blob, which the game says is a boy or a girl, but they both basically function the same, which I think is progressive. But anyway, you hatch your egg, you give it a name, let's pick something neutral. Alright, now it's time for me to take care of Little Subscribe. At first, it's pretty simple. You feed a steady diet of bones and the fanciest of feasts, clean up after it, wipe its bum, but when it got to the toilet training level, I was kinda stumped. The game tells you to use the squirt bottle to discipline it when it poops on the ground, but I had no idea if I was making any progress or not. There's no bar or anything that tells you you're doing the right thing. Also, you can just pick and drag your pet around, so I thought I just had to put him on the toilet and let him do his business. But he eventually pulled an Elvis and crapped himself to death. Rip in peace, Subscribe. You were too pure for this world. But I'm no quitter. Remember this, guys. If you flub up your first few kids, you can always have more. Having kids is like making pancakes. The first one always turns out wrong. But now that Subscribe beefed it, he was replaced with his much stronger sister, Like and Subscribe. By far a better choice. This time, I breezed through the stages, and I learned that like most things, I just needed to keep punishing my little bastard. And after toilet training, the next step was a little computer time where you actually get to talk to them. It's kinda cool, almost like an early Cleverbot. I thought the responses would be a little less coherent, but after chatting with it, it got a little too real sometimes. After that, you walk it through its pyromania phase, been there, tell it not to smoke, and teach it the joys of, matrimonial polka. Some of the old bushwhacking. You know, a bit of the old wham bam thank you ma'am.
Oh, you mean sex?
No. Yes.
While I did get stumped around the drinking stage, I did have some fun with my little bastard. The visuals are a little crass, but they're appealing enough, and while the broken English could be seen as offensive, it felt more to me like the terrible English translations we used to get. While some things could be a little hard to figure out, the fast-paced nature of the game is fun, and this game, along with a few others, even got a port to the iPhone. But by far, I think the funniest thing about this game is that the creators of it, This Is Pop, also made Harem Scarum, that 1 Billion Mandy game.
Now this is what I call kicking butt. This game is for girls.
And the fact that my little bastard is tied to that is something I will never not love.
Cartoon Network. All right, boys.
Cartoon Network.
When accused.
Here I go.
Hey guys, in case you haven't heard, I'm working on my very own cartoon, Screen Time, a show about young artists trying to make a name for themselves in the social media ruled world, all while juggling jobs, relationships, and everything in between. I'm hoping to bring back that old MTV Adult Swim style of adult shows. Think stuff like Clerks Animated, Mission Hill, and Downtown. I'm currently working on a short, so if you want to help me make it, you can leave a donation or purchase a commission. Link in the description. Help me make something special. Now it's time for one that I don't think gets enough love. Fat Wizard, baby. I used to love this game. It's super simple, but a ton of fun. You play as the titular Fat Wizard as you use your spells to protect the dragon egg that you plan on making a meal of. You have your standard attack of fireballs for quick strikes, lightning gates to stop enemies, and ice bombs to deal AoE damage, along with slowing down bad guys. And to be honest, that's basically all there is to it. You zip around protecting the egg, picking up food for bonus points, and occasionally grabbing badges used to upgrade your powers. And it is still really fun, dude.
It's so much fun.
So much fun.
So much fun.
So much fun.
Enemies are coming at you from all angles, so you have to be quick and smart with your attacks. You can't just spam fireballs since that makes them weaker. And at first you can only have one lightning gate, so you have to decide which enemy portal you want to gate off. And while the ice bomb does a lot of damage, it takes time to charge up, leaving your egg open to damage. It takes this simple flash game and turns it into a fairly involved tower defense game, and to be honest, it kept me entertained for hours as a kid. While I think that having more attacks would have been cool, for a simple flash game, they kind of nailed it. While eventually it does get a little repetitive, and I wish that it had more music, this is just a solid little game and it deserves to be remembered among some of the best. Also, he reminds me of Magical Trevor, and that's just good stuff.
Oh my, you don't mess with the wizard.
Okay, this next one is quality. Lily's Quest stands out as one of the best games on Adult Swim, though it starts off with the same old save the girl routine. Boring.
I'm not your girlfriend, I'm not even a woman, I just happen to have long eyelashes and like pink.
Never mind, we're back in business.
Lily's Quest sees you take the role of Lily, who is basically like Mario if everyone around him hated his guts.
Hi there, Blocky.
Oh, that's it. Enough with the insults. I've had it with you.
Like, seriously, I don't think you're the good guy here. Enemies constantly badmouth you, friendly characters tell you to get out, and you can even kill them in cold blood. In fact, you even get achievements for it. It's just so funny how everyone hates you so much, and you'll want to stop defeating people just so you can hear what they have to say.
Did this guy have to turn up and make an already bad day even worse?
Oh, I like the music on this level. It makes me feel very heroic.
Even the power-ups will badmouth you if you pass them up.
Hey, what the? Too good for the Starman now, are we?
Achievement unlocked!
It's not my fault, man. The only thing you do is turn me naked. While this game is definitely a parody of all those platformers you usually see, it doesn't mean that this thing plays bad. It has some of the best controls I've seen in Adult Swim games. Tight jumps, smooth as butter wall jumps, and it even controls the jumps based on how hard you hit the spacebar. It's some seriously impressive stuff. Also, you may have recognized the voice of Lily, his girlfriend, and, well, basically everyone else. They're all played by Joshua Tomar, best known for his work on Smiling Friends and Oni Plays.
Chris, let's sing the Tomar theme song whenever Tomar walks into a room in slow motion.
Okay.
Okay, you ready? 3, 2, 1. Tomar, 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 Tomar. The end.
It's cool to see that even back then he was still doing stuff for Adult Swim. I remember when I first found this game, I didn't expect much from it. But when I finished it with tears rolling down my eyes, I knew I had found something special. Remember, I was 13 and the internet was still pretty new, so this humor was still pretty fresh. And even now I still think it's really funny. Like how if you keep dying to the final boss, it'll just make things easier for you.
Okay, fine. I'll stop doing that attack pattern where I go left and then right again while shooting downwards. Does that sound good? Yeah, that'd be great. Thanks.
I totally did this just to show you guys and not because I couldn't beat them, so you're welcome. There was a sequel called Lily's Quest 2, but I think I'll save that one for a future video if you guys like this one. And I don't remember it as well as the first one, but Lily's Quest is great, and I'd love to go on another adventure with him one day, even if he is the real villain.
So Lily found Lulu and they lived happily ever after. The end!
Alright, I'm in the mood for more carnage, and nothing says carnage like Viva Caligula. This game is nothing but pure chaos, and I am here for it. The first word that comes to mind when I think about this game is variety, and that's because you have 26 different weapons you can use to torment the members of your city, taking out your rage on the citizens in an effort to make Rome great again. I mean, if you kill everyone, I guess crime rates will go down, and overpopulation will be a thing of the past. Alright, I'm on board, this feels smart. But yeah, you roam around the city, collecting weapons, fighting guards, and slaughtering civilians, all while epic music spurs you on to do more. All the fun in this game comes from trying out all the different weapons. You have swords, axes, spears, along with some more unconventional weapons like torches, and even transforming into a half-bear dude. Some of the weapons are really crazy though, like using necromancy to bring your victims back to fight for you, or using an ocarina to control rats to do your bidding. As you keep up your killing streak, you'll enter Rampage mode, which turns most of your attacks into one-hit kills and turns any opponent into mincemeat. It's really satisfying, especially using some of the ranged items which let you mow down entire screens of enemies. Well, maybe victims is the better word? Some of the people can be annoying when they won't stop blocking, and I wish there were like boss fights to break up the monotony. But overall, the music and sheer number of weapons to use makes this a bloody good time. So if you have some stress to work out, or maybe you're just a psychopath, Viva Caligula might just be for you. Okay, here's the reason you probably clicked on the video. Robot Unicorn Attack.
That's what we've been waiting for!
You know the song, we all know the song, and yes, even today, it still rules. Robot Unicorn Attack is an endless runner type game, kinda like Bit-Trip Runner or Temple Run. The gameplay is as simple as it gets. Z to jump, X to attack. Just 2 buttons and you're ready to chase your dreams. If you never played this game before, it is basically crack in Flash game form. The colors, the simple gameplay, the song that basically never gets old. It is very easy to lose half a day to this game. Everything about it just feels good. Whenever you jump, you just want to see how far you can go before you have to double jump. And smashing through the stars is so satisfying. Everyone at school played this one. I remember going to the computer lab during lunch just to see like 6 or 7 screens all blasting Always by Erasure. Speaking of that song, have you guys seen the actual music video for it? It's almost as trippy as the game. This is another of the Adult Swim games that also went on to spawn a franchise. Next we had Robot Unicorn Attack Heavy Metal. It was basically just a palette swap of the original game, but it was still really cool. There was also a Christmas version, but I couldn't find it. This eventually led to Robot Unicorn Attack Evolution, where as you progress through the game you transform into different animals, with each one having different weights and speeds. This version was eventually ported to Facebook, where they introduced things like power-ups and costumes and stuff. This made the game a bit easier, but I don't know. It felt weird playing it on Facebook of all things. Facebook is like the opposite of everything Adult Swim stands for. All of these also had iPhone releases, though as of now you can't download them anymore. Though I think there's still one version available through the Amazon store. The game eventually got a flat-out sequel with stuff like enemies, customizable unicorns, and even the ability to fly, but it came at a steep cost. Since Adult Swim wanted the game to be free, they didn't have the money needed to license Always for the game, instead making the song an in-app purchase. And if that's how you're gonna do things, then what's the point? There is no Robot Unicorn Attack without the song. It needs it. But this game stands among some of the greats for a reason. Endlessly addicting, endlessly fun, and endlessly memorable. I'm looking forward to the next time I decide to chase my dreams.
When it's cold.
Okay, you guys ready to get blasphemous? Cause we're playing the Bible game. This was another game I used to play at school a lot. The only problem with this is, I went to a religious school. And if you don't know the fear that gripped my heart whenever I thought the teacher was walking back in, then you don't know fear. This game is a basic fighting game where you fight as figures from the Bible. People like Noah, Eve, Jesus. Am I forgetting someone?
Oh yes, Satan.
I remember being really impressed with how it looked back at the time. The animation was really smooth and I loved how everyone was depicted, especially Eve for reasons. Is it sacrilegious? Sure. But even the most devout have to find it funny that one of Jesus' special moves is just fish and loaves raining down from the sky. Sadly, this might not be worth the Hail Marys because this game is jank city. A lot of the special moves are done with just the arrow keys. And it's hard to do moves unless you're facing straight. It's also very easy to just keep getting stun locked, and I was never quite sure on which moves I could block and which I had to dodge. This game might be fun just for the shock value, but I don't see it being put on the roster for EVO anytime soon. Overall, Bible Game is fun for a bit, and the presentation is awesome, but there are way better Flash games to spend your time with. Okay, I saved the best for last. This was my favorite game to play on Adult Swim, Amateur Surgeon. This game is the full package. Addictive and challenging gameplay, interesting art style, engaging story, the ability to feel what it means to end a life. What more could you want? You play as Alan Probe, a pizza boy who dreams of one day being a surgeon, and as luck would have it, he just ran over the guy who can help him become one. If you're familiar with the game Trauma Center, then this game plays a lot like that, except no cute anime girls. You perform various surgeries with the makeshift tools Alan has on hand. Use a pizza cutter instead of a scalpel, staples instead of stitches, and a chainsaw for... Okay, maybe you don't use the chainsaw, maybe you just go back to Rainbow Unicorn Attack. But seriously, this game is so much fun. Every mission is varied enough that you never get bored. One minute you're replacing some dude's organs and the next you're exterminating bugs someone swallowed. And there's so many of them. I played for over half an hour and barely got through the first chapter, and they get progressively harder as you go on, so Kid Me had plenty to work with. And all for free. I would not be mad if they had sold this for like $5 on the App Store. And I think Adult Swim knew they had a hit because they made a ton of these.
Play Amateur Surgeon Parts 1, 2, and 3, only on AdultSwim.com.
But I mostly spent my time playing the first one. The only problem I ever had with it were 1, the chainsaw, it's not fair, how am I supposed to draw a straight line that fast with a mouse? And 2, they are really cutthroat with the scores. I swear I was going through entire levels with no mistakes as fast as I could, and I would still be lucky to get a C. But I never really cared about the scores as long as I can keep the patient alive and move on to the next level. A bunch of them eventually made it to the App Store, with the 4th game acting as sort of a simulation game with a bunch of the old levels reworked for mobile. But by far, the coolest thing about this game is who it was made by, Mediatonic, the same people who developed stuff like Hatoful Boyfriend and Fall Guys. That just goes to show you that even when you come from humble beginnings, you can go on to do some pretty big stuff. I think that was one of my favorite things about these Adult Swim games. They were always front and center about who made them, often displaying their names on the title screens. So many Flash games just went uncredited, and a lot of work and love were put into them, and I hope this video showed that. None of these games were perfect, but for a bored kid with some free time and no money, they were perfect. Flash games were very special to me, and they will continue to be special to me. And I know that they were special to a lot of you. So, for everyone out there that still has Always stuck in their heads, this video is for you.